What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Power 5 here on WagerTalk TV for Thursday, July 27th. I am the appropriately named Bryan Power, of course, and this is a show where every morning I bring you the 5 things you need to know. Where the market's moving, who we're selling high on, who we're buying low on, favorite stat of the day, and finally, our power play of the day, a free play for you at the end of the program. Before we get to the Power 5, though, just a reminder, please like, comment, subscribe here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. It's a ton of great content every single day. As a matter of fact, I'll be on WagerTalk today with Prez at noon Eastern. Now, limited card in Major League Baseball on Thursday, just 5 games, including a doubleheader between the Angels and Tigers. The first one there starting at 1:10 Eastern. And that's where we're going to begin as we look at how the market is moving. With Ohtani starting game 1 for the Angels, bettors have predictably hopped on the favorite. Opening number was minus 140 on LA. They're now minus 150 or higher at some shops. Obviously, the big news in Major League Baseball yesterday is that the Angels have reportedly pulled Ohtani off the trade market. They're going to make a run at the playoffs with him here down the stretch. But note, while the Angels have won 6 of 7 overall, including the first game of the series, which was back on Monday, the reason these teams are playing a doubleheader today is yesterday was a rainout. Ohtani has a 7.71 ERA in 3 starts this month. Meanwhile, Tigers starter for game 1, Michael Lorenzen, he has not given up a run in July. So it's predictable that bettors are jumping on the Angels with Ohtani on the mound in the first game of this doubleheader, but stay tuned. Later on, I've got something else to share with you on that game. Bettors also seem to like the over tonight as the Nationals and Mets open up a 4-game series. Now, liking the over makes sense when you look at Nats starter Josiah Gray, who has a 1.77 whip his last 3 starts. All of those have gone over. But Mets starter Kodai Senga is 3-0 to the under his last 3 starts, 2.08 ERA, 0.87 whip during that time. If the inconsistent Mets live up to their billing as big favorites here, now I know that's a tough bridge to cross perhaps because the Mets, yes, they've been very inconsistent. They probably won't be coming up to the plate 9 times on Thursday. They're at home, and if they're winning, obviously, just 8 at bats. But then again, facing Gray and the Nationals bullpen that has a 6.37 ERA and a 1.60 whip on the road, maybe the Mets score a ton in the first 8 innings anyway, even if they don't have to come up to bat in the 9th. And here's something else to consider. Washington has quietly won 5 of 6, scoring 5 or more in every game. So perhaps we should expect plenty of runs at Citi Field Thursday night. Okay, now it's time for Sell High, a segment that is already 3 for 3 this week, including a big 13-5 win with the plus 157 Rangers last night. Really, the only team on Thursday's card that could fit the sell high mold would be the Cubs. Winners of 5 in a row and 7 of their last 8 after rallying from a 7-2 deficit last night to beat the White Sox 10-7. It didn't sit well with me, obviously. Had a 4% play on the White Sox. But the win streak for the Cubs has them now within 4.5 games of the wild card. They're in St. Louis this weekend. These rivals played last week. Cubs took 3 of 4 in Wrigley from the Cards. But before we go selling high on the Cubs, this is more of a sell high question mark than a sell high exclamation point today. Justin Steele, who is starting for Chicago, he's 3-0 with 2.95 ERA versus St. Louis this season. That includes a win last week. Meanwhile, St. Louis, who will be starting Miles Mikolas, he's got a 5.79 ERA in 2 starts against the Cubs this season. He was knocked around for 5 runs on 11 hits last week. So kind of an iffy sell high, tread lightly perhaps. They're fading the Cubs, who may not be sellers after all at the deadline. From the north side of Chicago to the south side we go for the only candidate that fits our buy low segment today, and that would be the White Sox, losers of 5 in a row. And what's especially brutal, if you're a White Sox fan, one of the 5 remaining White Sox fans, I'm sure, after this disastrous season, but they've scored first in 4 of those 5 losses. I already mentioned what happened last night. They're up 7-2. They can't hold on. They lose 10-7. Very frustrating. So the White Sox have no problem getting on the board first. They just can't hold those leads. You talk about buy low. Season worst 20 games below 500 for the White Sox, while their opponents for Thursday, the Cleveland Guardians, They're back at 500 for just the fourth time, for the fourth time this month. Each of the previous 3 times, the Guardians have failed to win and get over the Mendoza line. In fact, they have not been over 500 going back to mid-April. I talked about this earlier in the week. It's Tanner Bybee, who has pitched well for Cleveland lately, opposing Dylan Cease. He's pitched well in back-to-back starts himself. That's your starting pitching matchup for Thursday. The White Sox actually do come in as slight favorites at home against Cleveland. History suggests that Cleveland's not going to win here because they have not been able to get over 500 again in over 3 months. But, that White Sox bullpen, as I learned the hard way yesterday, not so great. Stat of the day, I tweeted this out yesterday, but in case you missed it, I wanted to let everyone know that the Milwaukee Brewers have just 11 wins this season when scoring 3 runs or less. Now, that may not seem too out of the ordinary because it's hard to win when you score 3 runs or less, right? But here's what's crazy, and this is our stat of the day. 5 of those 11 wins have come this month against the Reds. That's why Milwaukee's in first and Cincinnati's in second in the NL Central. Now, Milwaukee has no more games against the Reds this season, so don't be expecting the NL Central leaders to win many more low-scoring games the rest of the way, at least based on the trends. Before we get to today's free play, I've got a brand new special offer I want to let you know about. As you know, I recently celebrated my 1-year anniversary here at WagerTalk.com. Been a great year. Ranked first in MLB from last year's playoffs through the All-Star break. Was also number 1 in college football last season with plays rated 4% or higher. Well, for my second year here, we've got a great opportunity to get on board. You could take 50% off the price of a 1-year all-access pass by using the code POWER1000. That's POWER1000, 1000. For the cost of just $2.73 per day, $2.73 per day. You will get every winner I release for the next 365 days. Head on over to wt.buzz/BP to take advantage now. Here's a winner, though, that won't cost you anything. It's our power play of the day, and I'm going to fade the earlier line move that I discussed and take the Tigers in Game 1 of the doubleheader against the Angels. I think the public's overreacting to the news of Ohtani staying in L.A. Again, Lorenzen has pitched better than Ohtani this month, and the Tigers have a better record than the Angels this month. Nice value on Detroit, around plus 30 for the first game of today's doubleheader. I do not see the Tigers being swept today. Maybe if they fail to win Game 1, double down and take them in Game 2. But the power play of the day for Thursday, July 27th, is Detroit plus 130 in Game 1 of the doubleheader. That is it for the Power 5. Now let's all go cash some tickets.